happened? Where are you? May? May, is that you? Who's there? You're one of the Ariels.
Ariel? Oh, yes. Yes, I am.
So why don't I know you?
I have been away. My name is Lynnzavieve.
Lynnzavieve? That'll be easy to remember. Where's my husband?
Well, I believe that he...
Joseph?
No, dear one. That's my husband.
I've heard so very much about you, Lindsay. It is an honor. Truly.
Who are you?
I'm Jonas Gentry.
Well, it's about flippin' time, dude.
This is the Endless Elsewhere podcast, Chapter 26, The Peak and the Valley. I didn't realize it then, but I'd awakened from more than just a bad dream. That nightmare I was having, it was actually a near brush with death. So my grogginess is understandable. And my misidentifying another man as Joseph? Forgivable, I think. To be fair, I was hardly the first to make that mistake since we came to this other world. There was no distinguishing them at a glance. And the two men cut a similar figure, shared similar vertical dominance, we'll call it. For that reason, Joseph had been given all of Jonas's old clothing, so that meant they were dressed alike as well. And with how Jonas stood in the doorway, backlit by the sun, he really did look like my husband. In silhouette, anyway. When Jonas came forward, when I could see him in detail, I knew at once that the one standing over me was not my husband. This was an older man. Remember, according to his manuscript, Jonas had come here more than 100 years ago. I would not have guessed him a centurion, however. Jonas looked healthy, strong. His gray hair and beard, even the furrows in his face, testified to experience, certainly, but gave no hint of the careworn fatigue that typically comes with it. He looked like a man who'd seen it all, but was, somehow, still ready for more. So, no, this wasn't my husband. He belonged instead to the Ariel I'd awakened to, who'd been looking after me, apparently. This Lynnzavieve. Yes, I know. Her name sounds like mine. Don't think we won't get back to that later, because we absolutely will. Anyway, she also appeared to have some years to her, but this Ariel was what you'd call a timeless beauty. She had tinsel-like streaks in her auburn hair and only the slightest lines around her glowing emerald eyes. As I've said in previous seasons, it's often difficult to guess the true ages of the people who live on this other world, as the lifespans here are much longer than our own, and that goes for both natives and earthly immigrants alike. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if Joseph and I can age half as well as these two, then, well, that'd be just fine with me. Lynnzavieve then suggested to Jonas that they excuse themselves to find Joseph and inform him that I was awake. They'd no sooner done so than my husband came sprinting into the chamber, diving to my bedside.
Lindsay? Lindsay! Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't here when I was going to be right back, so I asked Lynnzavieve to keep an eye on you. Are you okay? Are you?
It's okay. I'm okay. Really, it's all fine. I'm good. I feel great. I feel great, actually. How is that possible? Didn't somebody shoot me? Shouldn't I be?
You got close. You got really close, baby.
Where are we? Whose bed is this?
Don't you don't remember. We're home, sweetheart. We're back in the castle.
This is our... Oh, this is the room they gave us in the tower, isn't it? I didn't recognize any of the... Guess I haven't gotten used to the place yet. But why am I holding... Is this one of my spare recorders?
Yeah, I put it in your hand before I stepped out. I figured you would want it as soon as you came around.
You know me so well, dear. I didn't even realize I'd turned it on.
Lindsay, how much do you remember?
I remember us crossing over and getting ambushed by Heartland security. I remember getting hit. I remember that very well.
Yeah.
I remember you carried me back through the portal while May closed it behind us. Then you laid me down in the grass, right?
Yes, that's right. Anything else after that?
Just the pair of you on either side of me. Your hands on my wound to stop the bleeding. You guys, you both looked terrified. I must have been really bad off, huh?
You really were.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I remember. Guess I blacked out after that. What happened? How'd we get back here?
You caught a lift.
With who? That Ariel I just met?
Lynnzavieve, yes, and her sisters Loragana and Lynnzavieve.
They flew me back here? But how am I okay now? Look at this. You can't even tell that I was...
Oh, that would be the work of Loragana. Her gift, it's for healing.
Gift? Oh, right. Some of them have powers. You told me about that.
The Phaoic sisters have some of the strongest of all the Ariels.
Why is that?
I don't know, maybe it runs in the family.
Their dad was the chief priest or whatever.
High Cleric, yes. Rendarja, that was his name.
Who passed away before we got here.
Right, and since they still haven't named a new one yet, the role of the Keeper was invented as a placeholder, a position currently held by Maevalesse.
Yeah, I know, babe. My memory isn't that fuzzy.
Right, sorry.
So if, geez, what was her?
Loragana. Hey, I thought your memory wasn't that...
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
So, if Loragana's gift is for healing, what's...
Lynnzavive's power is for faith. She knew her sister could heal you even before she did. And Lindsavieve's, obviously, is for language. She can speak them all.
That's why she has an accent. She wasn't taught American English by Gentry like May was.
Correct.
So what'd you call them?
The Phaoic's sisters.
I have them to thank, huh?
Oh, if they hadn't found us when they did, I don't think you would have... Yes, my dear, you have them to thank.
So they fixed me up, but why then airlift me back to the mountain?
They did so at my request. I wanted you to recuperate somewhere safe.
How did you get back here?
Jonas, Maevalesse, and I had to catch up on foot. We only got back this morning.
Wait, how long was I out?
About a day, a little more.
That long?
You needed to rest.
Well, I'm rested now. Did I miss anything else?
Well, there's been some...
Lindsay! Lindsay, are you...
I'm good, May. I'm good.
Oh, the Maker be praised. I feared it was your time.
No, I'm good. I'm all good. Wait, my time? My time for what? To die?
The healing power of this people does not work on someone whose time has come.
Oh, so if you're supposed to die, you die. That means it wasn't a happy accident that they found us when they did, huh?
There's a reason we stopped believing in coincidences.
But how did they... I thought they were all in exile. On the other side of the continent.
They were making their return to our realm.
And because we were so far outside of it...
So that we could cross over to Earth beyond the boundary of Circle City.
We just so happened to be in their path? Nice. Wait. What'd you just... Oh, right. Our failed plan to get the hard drive to Sylvia. Oh, dang. I lost the backpack over there, didn't I?
As well as our primary field recorder, yeah, that's why you have one of the spares.
Do you think they found the...
Oh, for sure they did. They couldn't have missed it.
So much for Season 5 reaching the world.
I'm sure they buried it, yes.
Oh, that really sucks. Anyway, so that's it, huh? That's how we met up with Gentry and company? Lucky me, I guess. Well, not luck, but you know.
It was the hand of the Maker at work in our favor.
Yeah, that. A miracle. I don't doubt it. Not when I had a bullet hole in me yesterday. But why were they finally coming back? And on their own? We never got the chance to... How did they know it was safe to return?
When you are ready, meet me atop the wall. There is more to tell.
With that, May was gone from our chamber. Joseph fretted about me getting out of bed and even tried to help me change out of my bloody clothes and wash up. I assured him repeatedly that I was perfectly capable, reminding him that I was more than okay, that I was great. Yet still he fussed and hovered. That is, until I lost patience and snapped at him. I regretted it immediately, of course, and apologized, realizing then that almost losing me had really shaken him up. Whereas I'd suffered bodily trauma, his was emotional and mental. This hadn't occurred to me because I wasn't present for it. Well, I was there, but not really there, you know? I went into shock and lost consciousness soon after being shot. If it had been the other way around, if it had been Joseph bleeding out in my arms, I would still be pretty rattled too. I didn't want him to feel unappreciated or unwanted, so I put myself in his arms. He embraced me tighter than usual, for longer too. When he at last loosened me from his grip, the pair of us left our room, stepping out onto the wall of Airy Castle. As flightless humans, the Strangels had given us the bottommost chamber of this tower, one of many that rose from the enormous circular rampart of the fortress. We walked the circuit of it, along the battlements, to what I often referred to as the rear of the mountain. Peering down the slope from this vantage, the river could be seen snaking through the range. From here, we could also see where our cabin once stood. The splintered remains of it still lay upon the rocky shore. In the aftermath of our battle with the giants, the dead had been seen to, as you'll recall, but now the collective attention of the community had turned to the damage done to the realm. Repairs were happening all throughout the fortress. I noticed that while the work continued uninterrupted, the workers were now distracted. I picked up on a weird mood in the place. Glowing eyes kept darting to the top of the wall, to us. I assumed it was the old divisions flaring up again between the cadre, those aerials who despised humans, and the rest of the winged populace who saw us as fellow creations of the Maker. This view was held particularly by the amalgams, who were themselves half human. I assumed that the uneasy atmosphere was about me. The last anyone had seen of the Earth Woman was as a bloody heap being carried into that chamber. And now here I was, stepping out on my own, restored. I had survived, to the happiness of some and the disappointment of others. But the contention in the air had nothing to do with me, I was to learn. It was, rather, the restored presence of Jonas Gentry to the realm. The banished had made a sudden, unannounced return, invoking very strong emotions among the Strangels, especially at this time, with everyone still reeling from the war and the loss of life. While the disquiet wasn't focused on me, or even Joseph, the pair of us did seem to amplify it when we joined the exiles who stood waiting for us upon the wall. May was already there with Jonas and his wife Lynnzavieve. Also present were her two sisters, Lorgana and Lynnzavieve, the pair of whom I had not yet met. Well, not officially, anyway. It was Lorgana who had healed me, and Lynnzavieve who had known in her heart beforehand that I would be. Lorgana had long, lightly colored hair, while Lynnzavieve's was shorter and darker. Their eyes glowed with the same brilliance as Lynnzavieve's, but in the hues of other precious stones. Lorgana's eyes were flared in sapphire, and Lynnzavieve's in amethyst. Also, like their older sister, these Ariels had only the faintest traces of age and were as radiant as any of their kind. They were also dressed as their eldest sibling was, as May was, as I was, in the flowing, elaborate raiment of their people. The only things that set these two apart from the rest of us were a couple of accessories from my world. Lorgana had a man's pocket watch tucked into the sash of her gown, and Lynnzavieve wore a man's hat, both of which were antiques at this point. Joseph, noticing my interest, told me that these were gifts from Jonas Gentry when he'd first met the Failwick sisters so very long ago. The man from Earth had offered these tokens of appreciation because, like me, these same Ariels had rescued and healed him after an attack. I looked to the eldest sister, to Lynnzavieve, and scanned her, seeing no earthly keepsakes. But then I realized she'd been gifted the man's heart.
Sorry, I don't have anything to... except for, my sincerest thanks. I know that's not a lot, but seriously, thank you, all of you.
You are most welcome.
Do they Do your sisters not...
My sisters use very little of the Defender's tongue.
The Defenders? Oh, I forgot they renamed English after you. That's quite an honor, huh?
Indeed.
They understand more than they can speak, but they know we're grateful.
Mostly because Joseph has not stopped thanking them since we returned.
Well, it's nice to have new friends here.
New and old.
With a knowing smile, Joseph then drew me to the battlements, directing my attention to the river again. I saw nothing that I hadn't already. That is, until Jonas joined us at the edge. Even so far up the slope of the mountain, he was still seen by something beneath the water. His appearance summoned to the surface a massive creature. I startled at the sight of the animal, but just as soon recognized it. I knew the sleek alabaster animal with its undulating water wings. Joseph had nicknamed it the Leviathan, and there, sitting atop it, mounted in the multi-rider saddle and waving his webbed hand, was our aquatic friend. Joseph had nicknamed him, too.
Clyde!
Clyde?
He's not alone either.
There is a contingent of his fellows down in the river.
Why? What are they doing here?
We did not know what to expect upon our return.
There could have been a fight waiting for you here, so you brought backup just in case. Smart. But what made you guys decide to come back home in the first place?
He did.
Who? Clyde?
You call him Clyde?
We took a page out of your book and nicknamed him.
I see.
Clyde told them of our adventure together on the Lost Isles.
And our slaying of the Grimalkin.
Told them? Told them how?
That would be Lynnzavieve's gift. She can speak their sign language as well.
No, I mean, how did Clyde even get the chance to tell them?
They were living among Clyde's people, remember?
When banished, Gentry and his household sought sanctuary upon the peninsula.
A territory of the aquatics, of course.
Aquatics.
Earlier, she called me an Ariel.
What? The names you made up? You don't use them anymore?
Not for a long while. How did you know about them?
Like I said, we took a page out of your book. Literally.
Ah, yes. My manuscript. Maevalesse told us that you claimed to possess it, Joseph.
She did?
When she and the others had returned from their mission to Earth, before me and mine were sent into exile.
Oh, yeah.
So, is it true?
Yes, I am in possession of your manuscript, Jonas, as well as the other Pendergast chronicles.
I should like to see...
I'm afraid I don't have them with me. They're still on Earth. In a safe place, though. They're well protected. Oh, no, wait. No, I can show you, actually. The digital versions, anyway. We have them on the laptop, don't we, Lindsay?
Sure do.
Digital versions, you said?
It's, you'll just have to see what I mean.
Very well, then.
So, Clyde told you about our quest? And that's what prompted you guys to come back? Why, though? He didn't even know about Fladorwin. We'd parted company before all that came out. Wait, do you know about...
Indeed. Maevalesse has told me everything. I already knew that the witch was working against us. That conspiracy within our own people was afoot. I just didn't know it was... I never would have guessed it would be... But once I heard what transpired in the Lost Isles, that the Grimalkin had been vanquished, I knew that we must make our return.
Did May fill you in about everything? Even Remagrain?
He knows, Lindsay.
A pall came over our little group, but it hung heaviest upon Jonas. Remember, it was the Defender who had assembled those four, first to wrangle the manticores, then for the mission to Earth. Disease, betrayal, and war had taken all but May. I looked to my amalgam sister. Her head then bowed, as if she was guilty, as if she had failed. Jonas looked to her as well. He cast off his gloom and swelled with pride. Jonas smiled, a father's smile.
What amazing things you've done here, Maevalesse.
What?
You wished to go with us when we were sent away, but I asked you to stay behind. Now I know that it was not my will, but that of the Creator that you remain. He alone knew that you would be needed here.
I was?
Without your presence here, me and mine would not have had a home to which we could return. And then, upon doing so, I find that you have been named the Keeper. I am so very proud of you.
Thank you, Jonas.
The praise blindsided her. Poor May did her absolute best to resist the emotion, but it still showed through. The approval of Jonas Gentry meant everything to her. It was praise from Caesar, as they say. The amalgam was an orphan who'd found a pseudo-father in the person of Jonas Gentry. And as far as father figures go, you couldn't do much better than this guy. I was then reminded that Jonas and Lynnzavieve had children of their own, children who must be adults by now, but they had not come back with their parents. Concerned, I asked about them.
Why leave them behind?
For their safety.
Oh, I suppose you never stop wanting to protect your kids, even when they're grown.
This is true, but also
We did not know if we could leave this place alive.
Right. Coming back here was quite the gamble. If the cadre had taken over, it could have been really ugly for you guys.
Indeed. And if our end had awaited, the next generation would need to replace us. But then, successors are not always your own flesh and blood, are they?
I figured Jonas had meant May. However, the man was not looking at my amalgam sister, but at my husband. Then Lynnzavieve's glowing eyes moved to me and remained there. I didn't understand what was happening, and it all became a little awkward, so I made an excuse about needing more rest and we broke company. When Joseph and I were alone again in our chamber, I asked him about the thing from earlier, that thing I said we'd absolutely get back to.
You must have said the name Jonas Gentry 1,000 times, but never mentioned that his wife's name was Lynnzavieve.
I'm sure I must have.
I think I would have remembered that, Joseph.
What's wrong?
You don't think it's strange? You don't think it's really strange that her name sounds like mine? And now that I've heard it, Jonas doesn't seem that far from Joseph.
Oh, okay, and?
Plus, they
what?
They kind of look like us, right?
What are you saying, sweetheart?
I'm not saying anything, just pointing out how weird this is. And it's weird that you don't think it's weird. What?
Maevalesse told us that the same prophecy can be fulfilled twice, remember?
Is that what Jonas meant? About us being the next generation about being their replacements?
Maybe. Would that really be so surprising? When you and I first met years ago, when we started talking about all of this, I told you that for as outlandish as this story was, the only thing that ever made me doubt any of it were some of these people.
People who were unimaginably heroic, who battled back darkness at all times and at all costs. You said people like that don't really exist. At least, not anymore.
And you said, maybe they can, again.
That's when you knew the two of us were supposed to meet.
And you seriously wonder why I'm not surprised by any of this?
I understood. Well, accepted is probably the more accurate word, and nodded. Joseph smiled in return, but the expression didn't hold for long. His thoughts were drifting off. This would become a common occurrence over the next few days, as would be his gentle refusal to let me share the weight of them. I could only assume it was the Cabal's near murder of his wife that burdened him so. I had survived, I was totally fine, but still he brooded. I hadn't seen him like this since after our battle with the giant Despair, when the creature had taken control of my husband's mind and sent him to kill me, very nearly doing so. Joseph had determined that nothing of the sort would ever happen again. And while he didn't say it, I believe he felt that way once more. That this would never happen again, that the Cabal would never get a second chance to harm me. But how could he ensure such a thing? It was impossible. Yet still, he pondered a solution. The listener knows my husband pretty well at this point, but you don't know him like I do. He's got this side to him, this iron will, to see certain things done no matter what. Things like protecting me. It's sweet, really. I actually love that about him. But when he gets that way, it seems like he is willing to do anything. More than that, he seems capable of anything. And even though he's doing it for me, it also kinda scares me. But the Lecks weren't the only ones in a weird funk. Like I said, the whole realm was in a troubled place mentally. We'd won the war with the giants, but the cost of that victory was maybe more than we could afford. The Strangel population was not that massive to begin with, so the losses we'd taken were crippling to the community. The Nephilim had come here with one goal: to annihilate. They had been indiscriminate between warriors and non-combatants. Even children were not spared. Children like Prodenver, who died in our arms. Watching the light go out of his young eyes was one of the worst things that I ever. It will haunt me forever. Anyway, back to... With all of this going on, Jonas and his family had then returned, complicating the whole situation. And to further complicate it, they had not returned alone. The contingent of aquatics surfaced from the river and entered the castle at our invitation. They were not universally welcomed, however. There were those, and not just those of the cadre, who wondered why Jonas had come back here with a fighting force. Even though the water dwellers were not wearing any of their shell armor or carrying any of their harpoons, they had brought these things to the mountain. This was rather suspicious to some of the Strangels, and it wasn't long before a rumor began to circulate that the Earthman was planning a takeover. After all, this would be the perfect time for him to do so, right? The realm was in disarray, weakened. Crucible, who had banished Jonas, was now dead, and Jonas's ward Maevalesse had been named the new keeper. So you can see how some could come to that conclusion, as absurd as it was. Despite all the murmurs and unease around us, it was nice getting reacquainted with Clyde. Lynnzavieve was kind enough to translate for us. But then Clyde asked about the other Ariels who had been with us on the quest, Flodorwin and Remigraine. We had to then explain all of that unpleasantness through our interpreter. He was bothered by this, I assume. It wasn't always easy to read the expressions of the aquatics. For anyone who doesn't have my descriptions from Season 4 fresh in their minds, the aquatics were humanoid in shape, although incredibly gaunt in comparison. In place of skin, they were covered in scales of varying green hues. Their fingers and toes were lengthy and webbed for their natural mode of travel, swimming. As for the faces of each, they had enormous blackened eyes that rounded the sides of their oval heads. Their mouths, when closed, were deceptively small, yet when opened, gaped gigantically with multiple rows of sharpened teeth. Not that we could see much of the physicality that I am recounting. Each of the nearly 20 aquatics that had come here was covered in multiple layers. Since they were on dry land, they had to be. All of them burdened a set of dual water tanks harnessed upon their backs, one on each side of their dorsal fins. Connected to the tanks was a wetsuit of sorts with a circulatory system of tubing that kept their bodies supplied with the life-sustaining fluid. Also tethered to the tanks were their spherical, water-filled helmets, crafted of some transparent yet darkly tinted material. The sun was not their friend. Not only was the light too much, overwhelming their massive eyes, it was too warm and threatened to overheat creatures designed for the frigid depths. To keep it at bay, over their wetsuits they also wore cloaks of sown seaweed. This equipment allowed the aquatics to come up from the deep and traverse the dry land in relative safety. The oceanic people were as inventive as they were exploratory. These breathing apparatuses were the chief examples of their ingenuity. The same ingenuity, it should be noted, was then put to work on behalf of the Strangels. They'd no sooner entered the castle than they began to assist in the repairs, lending their natural craftsmanship to the restoration of the fortress. Despite the clearly noble intentions of the Water People, suspicion of them persisted among their supposed allies. Whenever the Strangels would side-eye the Aquatics, Joseph and I would roll our own. We knew this rumor to be pure nonsense, but who was going to listen to us? We were humans, and so they assumed we would be loyal to our own. In their minds, if Jonas did lead a coup, the pair of us would certainly be a part of it. It didn't help that we started spending so much time with our new friend. Just a couple of days after meeting the man, my husband and I joined him down in what remained of the town.
We worked so very hard to build this place. I helped design it, you know. Every building had a door on either side for easier traffic between them. That was my idea. I thought it would be more neighborly, I suppose.
You don't say.
A faint smile had come over the man's face as he said this, but it was fleeting. Jonas surveyed the charred rubble with utter regret, shaking his head. He could bear to look at it no longer and shifted his eyes beyond the ruins. He found no relief, however, as there stood the temporary shelters where he saw the remains of the manticores. As we knew they would be, the animals' hides and bones had been harvested and used to make additional tents for the displaced. So much had been lost. It really didn't seem like we could lose much more, but that's almost never true, is it? Jonas produced a small collapsible telescope from a pouch on his belt and extended it. He brought the spyglass to his eye, peering further out, to the farmlands now deeply scarred by warfare. Remember, not only is this where the Strangel defenders had first confronted the invading giants and been overrun, but it's where we'd had our final clash with them on that fateful night. All of that action had largely undone the work of the plowers who'd been preparing the fields for planting. So, not only had all farming been halted by that attack, now we had to start over.
The delay will mean a smaller yield. It will be a difficult winter for us.
Maybe not as difficult as you think.
Why not?
Because there's not as many... There will be less mouths to feed this year.
Indeed.
I hated putting voice to that fact, even regretted doing so. I looked to Joseph for his reaction, curious if I'd made a mistake or not. However, my husband had heard none of it. I saw that he was distracted. He was fixated on the spyglass Jonas held. I remembered Maevalesse mentioning it way back in our second season. She told Joseph that even all these years later, Jonas carried it still. It was important, you see. It had been a gift from Pendergast. And it wasn't the only thing the long-dead genius inventor had left behind on this world. I turned my attention to Jonas again, and saw that he now aimed the spyglass at a distant portion of the tree line, to where the wreckage of the Midnight Lightning stood visible once again for the first time in decades.
How did you...
That was Joseph.
Was it now?
Joseph.
Oh, yes, that was me.
He spent months on it.
You cut away all the overgrowth? Why bother?
Well...
The same reason he can't stop looking at your spyglass.
What? This relic?
Yeah, that. Does it really still work?
Unlike the Midnight Lightning, yes it does. I actually find myself using it more and more as the years go by. These old eyes of mine are not what they used to be. As for the train, I wish you could have seen the thing in its prime, Joseph. It was truly a
marvel.
Indeed. I can see that it means much to you. It means much to me as well. So, thank you for digging it out.
Don't thank me just yet. I did clean it up, yeah, but then I sort of made a mess of it.
Oh?
During the battle, one of the giants chased us into that old thing. Joseph trapped and torched him inside of it. After it was all over with, we cleared out what remained of the creature. But the inside it was more than we could ever clean up, I'm afraid.
Where did you place the remains of that giant? Of them all?
We put them in the mass grave.
Surprised, Jonas turned and looked back toward the mountain, to the foot of it where stretched that band of cursed soil where nothing ever grew. This is where he and the Strangels had buried the bodies of their own vanquished enemies after a similar battle for this realm ages ago.
Should we not have... I know they don't want anyone stepping on it, but we didn't know where else to...
It matters not.
Are you sure? You seem... we had to get rid of them some way, didn't we?
There's no ridding ourselves of them. Not entirely.
I assumed Jonas was angry with us, but he was not. No, we hadn't angered the man, but we had reminded him of something. Something that unnerved what was probably the bravest man we'd ever met.
What is it? Jonas?
Oh, that.
What?
The Nephilim are unnatural creatures and therefore not bound to the same rules as other mortals.
Okay?
When they die, their spirits do not move on, but are left to drift about the physical plane, kinda like ghosts.
Like Grindel.
Like demons. They are numbered among the Dark One's legions.
So the giants we killed, they're still... They could be here with us? Right now?
Fear not, my friend. It is unlikely that they would remain this close to the Holy Mountain. No, they have certainly been driven away from this place. As I was.
Yeah, we can empathize.
I'm sorry you were not welcome into the realm, as you should have been. That you were made to earn your place here by going on that quest.
I think Joseph meant our exile from Earth.
Oh, yes, of course. Maevalesse told me that you can never return lest you be killed. But why had you then? The pair of you had only just come back through the portal when me and mine happened upon you.
It was only supposed to be temporary, a brief stay. We were supposed to find a friend of ours, to give her something.
Give her what?
A hard drive, a bunch of recordings we'd made here.
Jonas glanced to the field recorder in my hand. I could tell he'd been meaning to ask about it.
That device? You were never without it. Why?
We're basically doing what you did, Jonas. We're documenting our experiences here, but instead of writing them down, we're...
Record it all in real time. Although, I'm not sure why I'm still bothering. Our last season never made it to anyone, and there's a good chance this one won't either.
Season?
A series of our recordings. What we were trying to get to our friend. But after what happened, I can't imagine trying again.
So these recordings are for your friend?
Sylvia, yeah. But really, they're for everyone. She makes sure the world hears our adventures.
The whole world? How is that possible?
How do you explain a podcast to a guy who's been on an alien planet for a century? It would be easier just to give him a demonstration, an example. Jonas came back with us to the castle, to our chamber in the tower. I booted up the laptop and opened the first of many audio files. He was intrigued by the computer and asked about it. One thing at a time, I said as I handed him a pair of headphones. He took a seat, then pulled them on. He nodded, ready, and I pressed play. Joseph and I stood by, watching him listen, curious for his reaction.
Oh, I see. It's like a radio play.
Yes, that's it, Jonas. That's it exactly.
Is it broadcast over the radio?
No, it goes over the internet.
The what?
Never mind.
So there's no more radio?
No, there is. I actually used to have my own show. That's how I met Joseph.
Good. What about motion pictures?
Movies. Yeah, we still have those too. Why?
Because that would be better.
Better?
Oh.
What?
I get it.
What's he talking about?
He means that the only thing better than an Endless Elsewhere radio play would be an Endless Elsewhere motion picture.
Oh, of course. Well, it's hard to argue with that.
Assuming any of it is true, of course. The idea was to give Jonas just a sample of the podcast, a mere taste so that he'd understand what it was. But he just kept listening. At one point, I reached politely for the headphones, but he pulled back and shooed me away. I glanced to Joseph, who smiled and shrugged. We couldn't just ask him to leave. Not that he would have. Even when his wife came looking for him, he couldn't be pulled away. It was honestly adorable. He was enthralled. Lynnzavieve, surprised by his behavior, apologized for her husband. Joseph and I could only laugh, then assured her that it was totally fine, that he could stay as long as he liked. It was amusing to think of Joseph, all those years ago, obsessing over this man's story. And now here, this man was obsessing over Joseph's. Ever since we'd ventured to the sister Earth, Joseph had desperately wanted to meet Jonas Gentry. My husband had pored over the man's manuscript for years. It would have been like reading Arthurian tales your whole life, then meeting King Arthur himself. But we had experienced and endured so much ourselves, enough so that when Joseph finally did meet this mythical figure, he was not bowled over. And now I knew why. Having journeyed where Jonas had before him, having walked a similar path, even fought the same enemies, my husband had, in part, already lived the man's story, even made it a part of his own. I thought back to the knowing looks Jonas and Lynnzavieve had given us earlier. One of the first things Joseph told me about the Endless Elsewhere is that it's so much bigger than any one of us. He'd come to think of it as a relay race. We are the runners, and we carry the baton, the story, only so far around the track before handing it off to others. Some of us carry it for a very long while, but eventually the baton must be passed off. Maybe that's what Jonas and Lynnzavieve had realized while atop the castle wall earlier, that the Endless Elsewhere was in our hands now. I didn't doubt that it was and had been. I just wondered for how much longer. At some point, when it became clear that Jonas was settling in for the long haul, I slipped the charging plate beneath the laptop to keep the computer going. Then Joseph and I left him to it. We went for a very long and lovely walk. We were killing time, of course. After a couple of hours, we made our return. Wouldn't you know, we found Jonas right where we'd left him. That's when the pair of us realized that we would not be getting our room back tonight. It was getting late now, so we went to May and asked to crash with her. She consented, of course, and I made a joke about a slumber party that she didn't understand. We awoke early the next morning and went to check on Jonas. He was sitting against the wall of our chamber, head back, asleep, headphones still on.
How far did he get?
Not sure. The screensaver's going, so it must have... Hang on. Whoa!
Shh! You'll wake him.
Sorry.
So?
He finished them all.
Seriously? How? That's like a whole day's worth of listening.
On Earth, anyway. Longer days here.
Oh, right. Wow. The legendary Jonas Gentry binged all 5 seasons of the Endless Elsewhere podcast.
It's our #1 fan right here.
Still can't believe he... Oh, you know what? I think this might be my fault.
How so?
I didn't tell him that he could pause the tracks at any time. They would have just kept playing back to back. He didn't know to listen to them one at a time.
Now, I would not have stopped it. Not even for a moment.
Ope, sorry. We were trying to not wake you.
No need to apologize. That was incredible. The two of you, the journey you have made together. What a wonderful story it is.
Aw, thanks.
I have so many questions. I don't even know where to begin. The cavern beneath the Pendergast estate. You found it. The bard, too. Where is he now?
Not sure exactly. We left him with our people back on Earth. I'm sure they got him somewhere safe, though, before
the cataclysm. The one envisioned by the seers of this world.
You knew they had foreseen the fall of Circle City.
From its description, yes.
You knew they'd seen your hometown on Earth, and that's why you sent May and the others through the portal, to warn us.
But to no avail, it would seem. The destruction came regardless. When you two chased the giant despair through the doorway, you saw a city undone. So, it was all for naught.
I don't think so. If we had not met May and the others, if we'd not helped them escape, she would have not made her pledge to return, to rescue us when we needed it most.
And if Maevalesse and the Stranger Army had not marched into Shady Hollow that night, we would not be here.
That Troxel woman.
She's colorful. Yeah. Just glad that Harpy was willing to make that deal with Hardesty for our friends. I don't exactly trust the Cabal to keep their word.
Oh?
Even with all of Hardesty's fail-safes, Lindsay and I are still worried about our people.
We hate not knowing what's going on over there.
We had planned to check up on everybody during our excursion back to Earth, but, well, we didn't exactly get the chance, as you know.
You think the secret society will take action against your friends despite the agreement?
The Cabal isn't exactly trustworthy, but we're less concerned with them than we are with Troxel herself.
You fear she will go rogue and seek revenge?
We've seen it before, and with one of her underlings, no less.
Operative Fivecoat, yes. But would she really break the...
She survived that helicopter crash only to watch her entire death squad be annihilated around her.
And then she was captured by Maevalesse. That's not the kind of humiliation someone like Troxel is used to. You should have seen her eyes. The rage in them. It was honestly terrifying.
So, yeah, she really, really hated losing that night.
But lose she did. What is it?
Joseph and I don't really count that as one of our finer victories. As you heard, we didn't actually know Hardesty was going to do what he did before it happened. Grindel had sided with us against the Cabal, only to be double-crossed and handed over to them. That part never really sat right with us.
I did not meet Hardesty, but now having listened to your podcast, I feel as though I know him. Strange how that works. A fascinating man indeed. That he was able to fully realize automatomics and apply the Pendergast technology to himself is...
Impressive? Diabolical? Somewhere in between?
Somewhere in between, yes. It sounds as though he's made quite the journey, however.
Yeah, he's come a very long way from where he started. That is true.
From belonging to them to turning on them to now being imprisoned by them, I think he's been a greater thorn in the side of the secret society than even Pendergast was. For longer, anyway. So he truly is...
Locked away in the water tower. Yeah, like some damsel in a fairy tale. At least, we assume so. He was sure of it, so I guess we can be too. It's his punishment for betraying them. To be forevermore surrounded by his own technology, the technology that destroyed Circle City, the place Hardesty had rediscovered his humanity and then made his home.
The place he tried to save.
That was quite the sacrifice for him to make. And like the bard before him, Hardesty proved that even a machine can be a good man.
Yeah, I guess so.
Jonas noticed the mood shift in my husband and tried to steer us in a happier direction. He lavished the podcast with more compliments, adding that he would have documented his own story likewise if only able, that mere words on a page were no comparison to live recordings set to music. Joseph was surprised to hear him say that, maybe even a little offended. My husband had always been a man of letters, as they say. He was a written word kind of guy, but I was a spoken word kind of girl. It was me, the former radio host and now podcaster, who'd pulled him into the media of audio. Even still, to my husband, prose was the first, best, and purest form of storytelling. Even all these years later, he'd never been fully converted to my way of doing things. But apparently Jonas Gentry had. Overnight. The man had been trying to cheer Joseph up, but had only succeeded in making him grumpier.
Well, I was going to show you the digital version of your manuscript, but you probably don't even care about that anymore.
Confused by his tone, Jonas looked to me. I nodded discreetly.
Oh, but I do. I would very much like to see it. Where might I...
It's also on the laptop.
Ah, yes, of course. Such a wonderful contraption.
Let's see here. Oh, here it is.
So, people read my story on screens like this?
They can, yeah, but I published physical versions as well.
Actual books?
Oh, yes, sir. Hard and paperback.
Radio, motion pictures, books? I thought the world would be more changed in a century.
The good stuff tends to stick around.
And my story will as well. Because of you, it will live on. You've done me a tremendous honor, Joseph, and I thank you.
Hey, don't mention it. Okay, so with this little touchpad here, you can scroll through the document. See how that works? There it is. Your whole story. Just as you wrote it, Jonas. Word for word.
No changes?
Not from me, but Max added chapters.
What?
Maximilian Averick, the magician and author of the Third Pendergast Chronicle. He had the first two in his possession for a time. He made tweaks to both, like adding chapter breaks to yours, Jonas.
You wrote your story as one continuous thing?
I was in a hurry.
And honestly, it's Max you have to thank, not me, for your story making it to the world. He's the one who started the Book Bearers.
Oh, yes. You spoke of these people in the podcast. They're the ones who... Oh, may I?
Oh, yeah, sure, have at it.
I just moved my finger across this and... amazing.
Jonas could not contain his eagerness to play with the laptop. He took it in hand excitedly and scrolled slowly through the document, pausing occasionally to peruse and relive small portions of his story. But when he got near the end, Joseph stopped him on a particular section.
Oh, whoa, hang on. Wait, this part here...
Oh, yes. My surprise attack on
The Bunker of Babel. You know, what Max called the place.
Or Area 51, as I call it.
Jonas, you wrote in your manuscript that it was divine foreknowledge that placed a canyon here on this world that corresponded with our enemy's subterranean base on Earth.
Yes, that's true.
What are you thinking, Joseph?
During our battle with the giants, when despair opened the portal and we chased him through, we found ourselves atop the apex.
Ah, the apartment building in downtown Circle City.
Well, at least one person has heard Season 5. What are you getting at, Joseph?
Lindsay, you were wondering how that worked. I said we would get into it later, but we never actually did.
Oh, yes, that's true. He did say that. And no, the pair of you never did return to the subject.
Thanks, Jonas. I know it's all fresh in your mind from last night.
It will be fresh in his mind forever. Jonas has perfect recall.
Near perfect. My eyes aren't the only thing showing their age, but I'm not wrong about this.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm guessing we're getting into it now, yeah?
You know that where the orb opens on one world corresponds to where it opens on the other, but it's actually more complicated than that. The orb was designed to find the nearest point of agreement topographically between the two planets. Only then will it bridge the worlds together.
A landing point on the other side, you mean?
Yes, exactly, to ensure that the travelers make it safely through.
So the wormhole connected the mountain to that high-rise because of their shared elevation?
It works that way with height, yes, but also with depth as well. Jonas, could you guide us back to this canyon if you had to? I know it's been ages.
I believe that I could, yes. But there is the problem of...
Excellent. I'm going to get everyone together.
Wait, what? What are you...
I have an idea.
But, do you know what he's up to?
Actually, I'm afraid that I do.
Jonas and I followed Joseph out of the chamber. We watched him hurriedly descend one of the ladders to the courtyard, then looked on as he dashed about, rounding up first May, then Clyde, then Lynnzavieve and her sisters. My husband goaded them all to the top of the wall, to where Jonas and I stood waiting. Then he herded the lot of us further down the rampart, to that same spot where we'd previously assembled. There, at the battlements, overlooking the river below, he told us his idea. Lynnzavieve's hands went to work in the aquatic sign language, translating all that Joseph said for Clyde. She would also occasionally whisper some elaboration of a confused or missed word to her sisters who did not have a perfect grasp on English. Honestly, by the time he was done making his proposition, you would have thought that none of us understood Joseph for how we all stared in stunned silence at him. Fighting through the collective disbelief, it was May who finally said what we were all thinking.
Have you lost your reason?
I am as clear as I have ever been.
We have only just finished a war. We could not possibly begin another. We have already lost so much. So many.
I do not mean all-out war, Maevalesse. I mean a precision strike. It will only take a small number of us. With the element of surprise, we can pull this off, and quickly.
He wants to attack them, as you did all those years ago, Jonas.
It would seem so.
It worked then, it can work again. We get in, destroy the PX-39, and then get back here before the Cabal even knows what hit them.
You want to attack them? And in their own headquarters? You want to break into the most secret, the most well-guarded facility on the planet. On our planet. On any planet. In order to destroy the...
Without it, they won't be able to track the wormhole. We will be free to use the orb as much as we need to without the risk of...
But what if they have another?
They don't. Like everything else that Hardesty created, it's a one-of-a-kind piece of technology. Remember how the Cabal had to track down the music box to pull off their plan for Circle City? That's because they couldn't replicate his invention on their own. It's the same with the lantern or even our zappers.
How can you be so sure that...
With each usage of the orb, the portal is detected first in the bunker of Babel, then the coordinates are relayed to Heartland Security. We've seen this happen firsthand.
The bunker of Babel. Did you ever tell me why Max called it that, Joseph?
Jonas, have I?
No, you have not.
That memory of yours is going to come in really handy. So, what's the deal with the nickname?
Max thought of the place as another Tower of Babel, an inverted one. So instead of a structure that reached into the sky, this one dug deep into the earth. The ancient tower was built to escape another biblical flood, but prophecy predicts the next worldwide destruction will be with fire, hence them going underground. Like the tower before it, the bunker is a symbol of man's hubris. Babel was built when the peoples of the world came together to form their own kingdom in defiance of gods.
That sure sounds like the Cabal. It also sounds like another good reason to strike a blow at this place.
But is it worth the risk? You may not intend war, but this provocation could easily bring it to us. And for what? Merely to make it safe for you to deliver podcast back to Earth?
Maevalesse, I'm not doing this for the show.
Then why?
Joseph made no answer other than a fleeting glance in my direction.
Why not simply leave the orb unused? They cannot reach either of you here. You are safe.
But our friends are not. We left a lot of people behind. Things on Earth are getting worse. We have to be able to help them if we can. Maybe even bring them here. It's not fair. It's not right that only Joseph and I got to escape.
Sylvia, Keith, Carolyn, Ryan, Aiden, Piper.
Who are these people?
I do not know any of them, but I now feel as though I do.
Podcasts are good at that.
You are loyal to your people, but you must understand that as the keeper of the orb, I must do what is best for my people. Every time we open that doorway, we put this world at risk. If the orb was to fall into enemy hands, then all would be lost.
Yes, I considered that. We'll leave the orb here. We'll rendezvous back like what you and the others did when you came to Earth, like what Lindsay and I were going to do before the ambush.
That is not good enough. Our foes could still storm through once the doorway is reopened.
We will take a guard force with us, like what Bruceval did. He made a lot of foolish decisions, but that wasn't one of them.
I cannot ask that of any...
I was actually thinking about the aquatics. None of the Strangels need to come with us.
Joseph, you can't just expect Clyde and his guys to... What's he saying?
That he and his warriors will gladly join you on a second quest.
Attaboy, Clyde.
And you approve of this, Jonas?
I believe that we are in a unique position to strike a blow to the Cabal and to help our people.
Jonas looked to his wife. Lynnzavieve nodded. She stood with her husband and would follow him anywhere.
Will you guide us to this canyon?
I will.
But how will we get there? The Manticore...
I have an idea about that too. Well, it's actually your idea, Lindsay.
Oh. You mean how I thought we could find Jonas. Not that we need to anymore, obviously.
What do you mean?
Our new friends have been attempting to reach us since they came here, but kept getting delayed. After the battle here with the giants, Lindsay thought that they could canoe down the river to the sea, then move around the coast to reach us on the peninsula.
But maybe we can use that same route to reach this canyon? Will that even work? Like, is that even possible, or...
The idea is sound. It would only take us a part of the way, however. We would still have to make a journey inland. I believe so anyway.
You're not sure? What happened to that perfect memory?
My journey to the canyon was made from the opposite direction. This new heading will take us a way that I have never been.
Why don't we just go the original way?
It's too far to go on foot.
How did you get there, Jonas?
I flew.
Did the Strangels carry you, or...?
Not for such a distance as that. No,
He had a flying machine. It was a creation of Pendergast's, but it's long since been destroyed.
Got it.
We will have to use the waterways. Take heart, though. My beloved bride can lead us.
Yes, of course. In your book, you wrote that she was your constant guide across this world. Lynnzavieve, can you get us there?
The route is not well known to my people, but I believe so. Yes.
We will have to be swift.
The stormy season is coming. Right. You told us about that.
That will not be a problem.
It's not? You think we can kayak around the continent fast enough?
We don't need to bother trying to paddle around in the giant's pods, no. We have the perfect transportation just waiting to get us there. Don't forget what's parked down in the river.
The Leviathan.
It seats 5, including Clyde, remember? Just enough room for all of us flightless ones. The Feowick sisters could follow us from above.
Well, how about it, May?
Very well. It is decided. We take the fight to the enemy, to strike at the very heart of them. We go to attack the Earth.
Do good. Fight evil. Repeat. I'm Lindsay Leck, and this is the Endless Elsewhere podcast.